Hi guys, my hedge needs to be trimmed. So I fire up my hedge trimmer and it starts great, idles great, but when I start to give it some gas it dies out. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the carburetor on it. Instead of buying a new one or taking it somewhere, it's only a few bolts, and last year when that primer bulb broke, instead of going to Rural King or somewhere and paying an ungodly amount for that little piece of rubber, I hopped on eBay and I don't know how you say that name of that company, but for $10 with free shipping and handling, $10, I got a new carburetor, new filter, the two gaskets, a new gas filter, another primer bulb, and a new spark plug for $10 with shipping and handling. So when I change it out, it'll more or less be like having a brand new hedge trimmer. So it's going to have two bolts right there, go in there with the gasket on either side. The way to tell the two gaskets are different, you'll see one's got a hole there, one's got a hole there, so this gasket's going to match up just like that. And I don't know what the hole for is on that one, but that gasket's going to match up just like so. The two bolts, and we got two fuel lines, and that's all there is to changing one of these out. The problem is going to be setting the idle and the mixture screws. You will see one's got an H and one's got an L. The L is for your low speed mixture control, and one of the H is for your high speed when you're full revving it. And this one right here, that little screw right there, is what controls your idle. Oh, and you're going to have to put your throttle cable right there, is going to control it. So the most difficult part is going to be adjusting these two mixtures. I think what you do is you turn them all the way in till they bottom out, just like the mixture adjustment on the old-fashioned carburetors up into 85. So you turn them in until they bottom out, and then you turn them back 1.25 inches, and then your fine adjustment comes after it's running. So let's get her taken apart and get these two bolts taken off there, pull the fuel lines, and get the new one put on. The new air filter that comes with it appears to be much better quality. To even think that air can move through that, it's so high, compared to the little piece of sponge or foam that if you ever get gas on it, it falls apart. See that? Compared to this one. Got a slot in there, so it's going to go just like that. Fits in there really well. There are two screws, or rather nuts, that need to come off to take the air cleaner loose, and I think the choke's going to stay with it. And so you need to get an 8mm socket, and it's going to fit this one just fine, but the depth in this one here is not going to fit, so we're going to have to hammer that one on or something, because the plastic is just hitting on this inside edge there just barely, so it won't seat on there properly. There we go. So take both of these screws, both of those nuts off. Okay, they're not on there very tight, they're too small. If you don't have one of these, I highly recommend you get some thumb wrenches. They are the coolest thing. You don't need a lot of torque. It's almost like having a nut driver. So there we go. I won't bore you with the rest. Don't lose your bolts. So air filter's off, and carburetor just pops right out there. See that? I'm going to take this cable loose and 2 fuel lines, primer bulb line and this line. Put the new one on there and clean it all up. Do note the way this is going to go on there like that. I guess your fuel lines will help index it for you. No, it's going to go like that. Notice where the butterfly valve's at. It's at the back there. So can't hold this camera and pull fuel lines off at the same time. So I'll be right back at you in a second. Problem encountered. The throttle linkage is supposed to slide in through there. But see how it's got a slot in the other end, and it should be round like this, like the other one is rounded all the way through. So I'm going to have to take a drill and drill that slot out so that it's round like that. Doesn't look like much metal there, but right there at the end. So I hate when you buy parts and they're not direct fit and you got to modify them. Well, there you go. In less than 5 minutes, switched out the old carburetor. This gasket here goes between the air cleaner and the carburetor. This goes between the carburetor and the manifold. Pay attention to that little ear. I torqued these to about 20 inch-pounds to seat the gaskets. Put the new air filter on there, and it'll be like having a brand new Hedge trimmer. Just gonna have to fight with it to adjust the mixture knobs down here. I do notice a little bit extra slack in the throttle cable, so I might have to take this apart and see if I can't tighten it up some, but won't know till we get it started. So let's fire her up. With these Stihl chainsaws, you need to put the choke on full until you start it, and once you get it started, then once it's running, then flip it up. The old carburetor, when I was pushing the primer bulb, I noticed it never filled all the way up, which tells me that we had a busted diaphragm. I don't know if you've ever taken a fish air pump part for your aquarium. There's a little tiny diaphragm in there. I'm fixing to take this apart just to see, but there's going to be a little diaphragm right inside of there that I guarantee you that little tiny piece of rubber was ruptured, and that's the problem. So the old one wouldn't run, so let's give this one a try and see how it does. That's great. $10 and it's like a new one. So have a good day.